to the questions. So yeah, in a few seconds. So hello everyone, welcome to the next panel discussion of the PPM Summit. So many experienced professionals from around the world in this panel discussions. I'm really excited. I will not introduce Finn, whom you saw just before this panel discussion with his presentation. So we have Finn, Olsen, Tram, and then we have Martin, Hruby. Let me introduce you. So Martin is an experienced project portfolio manager with Roche. And welcome, Martin. We have Antonio Pesqueira. Antonio is Global Head of CRM and Salesforce Effectiveness at Bavarian Nordic, is maximizing the business benefit through holistic project portfolio management that makes the difference. As project portfolio manager and PMO lead in multiple organizations, Beat delivered more than 400 projects with an investment volume of over £500 million Swiss francs, leading over 40 project managers. So welcome everyone. Really excited to this to hear the feedback, the comments, and all the new ideas from this panel. So we are going to discuss about Agile Enterprise. What does it mean, and who is the benchmark for the industry? So let's start with the first question, because we have a lot of questions and a lot of I'm expecting a lot of questions from the audience as well. So what part of PPM activities and operations in biopharma can be managed using agile methodologies? Martin, would you like to start?
Yeah, thank you, Mithun. And I will actually start with the same statement as last year, that agile principles and methodologies can be applied everywhere. And I remember that this statement sparked an interesting discussion. So I hope that also this year it won't be different. And I think it can be applied really in both R&D portfolio, but also those portfolios that don't deliver molecules. The basic principle is to separate the regulatory requirements from the rest, because with the regulatory requirements, you are dependent on external conditions, and you usually have to bring agile principles there as well, but a collaboration with industry partners is critical. But all the rest you can address internally and apply agile principles across the entire company. I will pause here to give space to other colleagues, but then we can come back to some concrete examples.
Thank you, Martin. Finn, would you like to add your ideas?
Yeah, I think I spent a half an hour on it just before. So maybe some of the other ones can wait, and then I'll have much more to offer. But so you've seen how we deployed it.
Okay, great. Beat, your ideas.
Yeah, I'm coming here more from the IT side, yeah, at Takeda in the manufacturing area. We have, I divide my projects here into two portions, two categories. One are the life cycle projects, so the continuing projects that are concerned with refreshing server growth, software upgrades, and enhanced functionality along as Takeda is expanding. Overall in the innovation area, and now we are just looking here at agile ways to run the portfolios. And I have to say, for both categories, even the life cycles are more in the waterfall area, so can be handled very well in the waterfall area. We can have them manage agile and the informational innovation projects anyway, because here we are going to put our feet on new grounds, new functionalities, etc., which can not be planned very well. And here anyway, agile is a good approach.
Thank you, Beat. Antonio, your ideas.
Thank you. Yeah, so innovation and project management have been always extremely important capabilities to biopharma, and mainly from R&D to commercial, right? So the growth of Agile as a methodology and some of the Agile methods like Scrum, Kanban, and Lean management have been growing exponentially from my perspective in several different biopharma companies. And again, those examples are coming from big pharma to small biotech, but it's indeed very clear that those use cases, they are indeed growing. Now, some of those adoption areas, they have been commercial excellence, marketing, supply chain, production, and many more. So if we start thinking about the different use cases, we start to understand that actually they are extremely vast and they are immense. And it's not fair to point out only a few examples, but some of those examples I have been working actively are mainly in terms of brand planning, using advanced concepts of agile marketing, in terms of understanding the tactical and the strategic planning, and of course the usage of Scrum as a framework for several different project management activities. They can be applied in our industry in terms of customer relationship management, digital, or even patient support programs. So for the last 12 months, I have been working with Agile to implement different use cases and different kind of projects, but the ranges, they can go from data science, advanced analytics, and different kind of models that will require to have complex activities in data management and governance.
Thank you, Antonio. Let's move to the next question. Business agility is the ability of a business to rapidly respond to change and thrive in the VUCA world, which we know, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. How can big pharma companies bring in agility in their everyday management practices? So, Beat, would you start this time?
Yeah, it's crucial that we are able to follow all these changes and new requirements that are coming. So we here at IT and manufacturing are even behind the business, but if they start to develop new drugs or they expand some drug development and production to other countries, then we need to be able to quickly jump in. And here we also need to have a quite agile approach. I'm talking here more about prioritization of projects. Because usually the funding is already spent on projects, or we have the budgets for the running projects and the ones the pipeline. If something jumps in, and this is happening more than you think, we need to be able to quickly reprioritize our portfolio, and here we also need to find better ways to act more agile in these cases.
Thank you, Beat. Antonio, your ideas.
Yeah, thank you. So from my perspective, what is more important than going already to the concrete examples and use cases is actually the organization to consider all the necessary steps to enable the right culture, the right capabilities, and having a proper change management strategy. So what I saw, and very much until today, it's very few companies, they are ready to embrace the necessary cultural changes of a new mindset and even the philosophy that comes out from Agile and the Agile methodology key principles. And some of the times what the organizations, they underestimate is how important is the change and the adoption of the right mentality from the people that are part of the organization in order to be able to work and to understand Agile as a full-blown methodology. Now, if we think Agile only as a technical methodology, then we lose the full range of the benefits and the opportunities that Agile can bring into the organizations and processes. So here, my simple and my 2 cents is we should not underestimate how much Agile can change the organizational journey. And we need always to contemplate what it's necessary to bring out of the Agile in order to incorporate into the cultural organizational change. And Agile will always need to have a proper investment from people to processes. Otherwise, you fail to take out everything you can from the Agile.
Absolutely agree, Antonio. You hit the nail right on the head. Martin, would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I will just build on where Beat and Antonio started. So if you look on the key principles that are coming from project delivery, Agile methodologies, we can easily apply them also for the entire enterprise as well as for portfolio management. And just to list few, customer centricity, always build your strategy around your customers, patients, society, and what benefits they get from projects that you deliver or products you deliver. Empowerment, so delegation, decision-making down in the context of VUCA world and portfolio management. There is not much space for large portfolio committees and central governance bodies, especially when you want to scale your portfolio. Again, it's not one size fits all, so different companies might take a slightly different approach, but the principle of empowerment is repeating everywhere. Then I would mention transparency, which is important for a portfolio context, but also to manage risks. Ruthless prioritization, that's building on what Finn mentioned, having one backlog and have the courage to kill projects that don't bring value, and then also be able to shift quickly into the new focus areas in the VUCA world. And all of that has to be supported by communication, because my personal belief is that communication is critical in minimizing the VUCA attributes. So if it is timely, specific, simple, clear, it should help to manage that volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous surroundings.
Thank you, Martin. Can't agree more with you. Finn, would you like to add something to what has been already said?
Yeah, just sort of building on top of what Antonio and Martin is saying. So what I've seen is that some organizations have hired agile evangelist preachers, and that's kind of fine, but don't overdo it. You need to train the organization and understand what it is, but remember that what we're doing here is the focus is not to be agile. The focus is to be more responsive, focus on the right thing, remove some of the waste and so on. Doing agile ways of working is just a ways of working. So don't get it to the, let's say, insane godly level where this is the most important what you talk about. Nevertheless, you still need to kind of understand what some of the terms means. So you have a kind of idea where is the benefit. Because else you see in the kind of the other end is that you see some adopting agile and they're using the words, but they're not using kind of what was important and why agile kind of works. So that's kind of more about if you go for it, be sure you focus on the benefit side and what you want to achieve, and use agile as a means of it getting there.
Absolutely agree to your points, and also to all the whole panel. And I find really like one of my clients that again a very big pharmaceutical client that has made a lot of efforts on putting on implementing agile at the whole organizational scale. They brought a very niche company of change management from the US to do the agile change management, and actually they did not take into consideration the cultural specificities of Europe, and they applied it in such a fast pace. And the feedback I get from the managers of my client is they feel helpless. They feel they have less power, they have less control, and they lack the understanding of real processes. So you should not only train the project team, you have to train everyone around it. You can't be just a part of the organization cannot be agile and the rest of the management is working still in other modes, and they are not adapting their ways of working. So I think that's business agility. That's why is very essential at this moment. And I really like what you said, Finn, that you should not take it to the godly level, but really at a practical level. You have to apply. You have to understand the terms. You have to make things work at your level. And so let's move to the next question. Agile management practices rely heavily on embracing an accelerated change of technology over shorter periods of time. Can you quicken the pace of innovation of products and services from new and emerging technologies? Antonio, would you like to start this time?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Ethan. Yeah, so I would say the best way to answer this complex question is to go a little bit back to the basics, and also building up on top of what Martin and Finn, they were also sharing with us, is it's crucial to have that very clear understanding and to have a practical understanding as well of where we want to go. Meaning, I do believe it's fundamental to have a clear understanding before rolling out any agile project of what are indeed the 12 principles. And typically, I like very much to always keep in mind what were the 12 principles from the agile methodology, right? And what the founders, they wanted to achieve in the very early stages, because what are exactly the intentions and the objectives from the manifesto? And the most important of all, it's to have a very clear idea, always having a focus on the people instead of very long documentation, or instead of something that, again, Martin and Finn was sharing with us, that is investing in something that in the end of the day, it's waste, or probably doesn't bring all the necessary value. So I do believe, again, the 12 principles, they are extremely key here, and having the goals and the objectives that we want to take out of the project always in mind, it will help us. Now, if we only stick to what we have in terms of knowing as the understanding of the impacts and the values that we want to bring for that specific initiative, it's important to not only to have those values and principles in mind, but also trying to engage in a very effective way with our relevant stakeholders. And as Martin was sharing, is, again, it's trying to have that effective communication and having that capacity as well of having the right leaders at the right place, engaging with the people in a manner that everyone can understand, and bringing the agile concepts into practice. So the other key component, I would say, from my view, is the value that we want to bring and the value that we want to compromise ourselves. It's going to be always critical for a successful roadmap.
Thank you, Antonio. Beat, if you would like to add your ideas.
Yeah, this I did last year. I got certified as Agile Lean Portfolio Manager from Scaled Agile. Yeah, this is SAFe 5.0, and it has some very interesting concepts inside here. Yeah? So we really I mean, the step to really to a lean agile portfolio management is huge. I don't think that we can do that midterm. It will be a longer term journey. But I like some of the concepts, such as the lean business cases, where the projects are coming with standard business cases. It's just a 1 or 2 pager showing the most important things, so we can easily or more easily prioritize them. And also, we want also to include, and at least for the innovation projects, where we want to try to follow the business. Because the business cannot be more agile than we are at the end, that we have the minimal viable product that can be put in place, and where we can also then test our assumptions for the project, and if it's fulfilling these requirements or gets accepted by the business, we can continue the project the full scope.
Thank you, Beat.
Concepts I would like to bring in here.
Wonderful. I really like the idea of lean business cases. I think that would be really in today's times of disruption. I think that is very, very helpful. Martin, would you? Sorry.
By business cases, the teams are writing here 10, 20 pages, calculate everything. At the end, the project gets rejected or rescoped, without.
Absolutely agree. So, Martin, if you have anything to add to this.
Yeah, right. So I will divert back a little bit to the innovation, because I think that innovation is extremely critical. We have many proven evidence that companies that innovate sustain over time. So supporting all the experimentation, rapid prototyping, fail fast until it's still cheap. I think that's the mindset that we should promote, which obviously we have to embrace also the ability to fail and learn from it. One of the big challenges that I think can be experienced all over the place is the ability to scale. So once we have a solution that works for a small team, small prototype, it works great. But then when you want to scale it up to a bigger organization, usually that becomes a challenge. And then what worked in the past might not work in the future. And then it's also about the ecosystem where I try to build networks and connect people and products in the fragmented innovation landscape, because sometimes it can be so huge, the landscape, that it's important to connect people and encourage them to work together, better understand the context, and co-create their products when they innovate.
Absolutely fantastic idea. And I really like this idea of connecting people and products. Finn, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, just sort of elaborate on further on what you're saying about fail fast. For me, I've been very kind of inspired by Eric Rice, who wrote the book Lean Startup. It's kind of great. If you don't know it, then please consult it. I can write it on the comment too. But basically, it's about make sort of selected studies. So you do it as cheap as possible with a minimal kind of impact. But for us, it kind of means that in the early funnel days of ideations and so on, what we typically would do is we'll take the checklist from our QA system saying we have these clinical, these quality, and we kind of move from A to Z, and then we deliver it and saying it worked and it worked. So here's about finding what is kind of the priorities. What is it that you want to do? Don't follow kind of these templates. But we already kind of a hunch that this is very humidity kind of thing. So we have some kind of things. Why not test those risks first and go with those, and then fail fast? Just spend a minimum number of money or time or effort on something. Yeah, Nathan, thank you. That's exactly what the book mentioned. So just think about these ways and then do what matters first in your funnel. Just don't take from A to Z. That's kind of dead for a long, long time ago.
Okay, so our time is running out, but we do have two very interesting questions. So I'll go very quickly to it. Many agile metric areas are used in agile portfolio management, like lean metrics, which focus on flow of value to customers and eliminating wasteful activities. You have Kanban metrics, which are focused on workflow, prioritizing, and doing work. Scrum metrics are focused on delivery of working software to the business. So which portfolio metrics and agile metrics can be adapted to biopharma PPM organizations and used for reporting? Antonio, if you want to start this time.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch. Yeah, so, well, outside the most typical ones for the Scrum Masters like me, typically we are always used to see the burn downs, the charts, the velocity charts, the epic releases, the flow diagrams. They are extremely important indeed. But what I learned also to appreciate are the ones that are more connected with delivering the real value or allowing us as Scrum Masters and as well product owners to understand the value that we as a team, we are delivering. So value delivered in story points or net promoter score, quality intelligence or innovation rates, or even sometimes basic indexes like people satisfaction, they are indeed valuable and they are useful for us to understand how much difference are we making to the business or to our clients.
Thank you, Antonio. Beat, your ideas.
Yeah, I would join Antonio here. I think the value or the benefit as a KPI is super important on portfolio management level. I mean, that's why we have portfolios. We invest money and resources into the portfolios to get some value out of it. If we once see that the portfolio is not delivering value or benefits to the organization anymore, then we can stop the portfolio and invest our time and money elsewhere in another portfolio. So I think that's very, very important here.
Absolutely. Martin, what do you think about these?
Yeah, I will be brief because many things have been said. So first thing, measure only what matters. Sometimes we measure so many things and then it might not even make sense and the numbers might not always reflect the reality. So really measure only what matters, depends on the type of the products or projects you have. I would agree on the value. One of the first things that we implemented in my portfolio was benefits realization framework. So what benefits are being to delivered and when? Some ideas for inspiration, it can be objectives and key results, so-called OKR, which are emerging all over the place. And then the standard things, the constraints that your portfolio has in terms of resources, budgets, and so on.
Thank you. Absolutely agree. Finn, what are your ideas on this?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the kind of the farm, and I'm thinking about a Kanban board, and I'm thinking stickers, just to kind of make it super simple. So and then the limited work in progress. So don't have thousands of things started. You may have one, of course, having the funnel and so on, but you don't want to stuff something into phase one before you actually completed some of that work and moved it on to next. So be kind of have some kind of inventory where you have of the different things and have that kind of in mind. So you don't start too much. You're very focused on it. And I think that's kind of what also Martin and the other ones guys says here is being focused, think about what makes value and don't overspend and have too much. Work within your limited work in progress.
Great. Absolutely love it. So let's wind up the last question very quick. What agile portfolio management tools do you currently use or intend to use in your organization? Beat, would you like to start this time?
Sorry, I didn't got the questions.
I'll state it again. What agile portfolio management tools do you use?
To be honest, I'm using Excel, and at certain at certain extent also some Kanban boards. Like you can also do it with Microsoft tools, but also I'm using Trello, which is a simple tool to build up Kanban boards that I can also share with other teams. Yeah. But this at this stage is very simple. We have still our portfolio management tool that we are using as a project repository, but not really much more than this. Yeah. So I mean, the whole management things is coming from excellent training. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Martin.
Yeah. Again, I would not speak about concrete brands, but if we check the Magic Quadrant from Gartner or Forrester, all those tools can do what we need. Usually they can do more than we need. So based on that, I would really suggest to focus on simplicity and user friendliness, because we don't want to have a tool that is so difficult to use that we don't use it at all. It should be configurable and easy to integrate with other systems, because especially in large enterprises, there are so many tools in the information landscape that it can become cumbersome. And I also sympathize with Beat. You know, simple spreadsheets, often a back end for many other dashboards, visualizations. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree so much. I mean, you can have so many of the simple tools. And actually, what I do is in my case is that I use a lot of tools, not for the portfolio part, but more for the brainstorming part, like Miro, like Klaxoon. It's a French tool which is very good for doing a brainstorming, because you can really bring about post-its. So it's a then Mural is a very interesting tool as well, Mural, Mural, and so yeah, lots of new tools coming up, and I think we can use a lot. Finn, what do you think about the tools?
We're using Jira and Confluence, but it's about, I just can only say what Martin is saying, don't overcomplicate it, focus on visibility, make it, most people think graphical, don't let the system take over communication. It's nice these days in the COVID settings that you can, let's say, communicate within the tool. And you can say add someone and whatever, and then they plop up on their screen. But when you're getting back to be co-located and so on, be sure that you don't have this setting. It should not prevent people to talk. I think that's what I see most of actually where system is getting misused. They're focusing in and getting into the kind of the bottle of it.
I think,
thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the most important things is whatever tool you are using, you still need to be transparent of what you are doing and share the information so that everybody is on the same page. I think that's the
indeed
paramount.
Yeah. So
that's
critical.
why Excel is also a very nice tool.
Yeah, and you know, the spreadsheets, Excel is one thing. Then we have products that are also online, and as long as it is accessible by everybody, then you can make real-time changes, have your Jamboard, have your spreadsheets, and all work simultaneously in very transparent way. Yeah, so critical.
Wonderful. And I think also
just one thing. So also, if you work with software guys, it's so easy to use IT. If you work with clinical or chemical or whatever kind of things, they may be very afraid of it. So you don't get the benefit that you thought. You can't just replicate a tool used by software to other types of scientists.
Yeah, absolutely agree. But I guess with some training, I guess you can work wonders actually. But yes, I'm absolutely sure each team has a different way of accepting change, and the change readiness is not the same for everyone. So thank you so much. I have so many interesting ideas that I take away, like the growing agile methods in the big biopharma business, we focused that everything on simplicity, visibility, graphical use, and then Agile should not be just a technical method. It's much more. Don't underestimate what it is bringing. Communication can minimize VUCA attributes. Don't overdo inviting of or hiring of Agile evangelists or preachers. Be practical, focus on the benefit, and understand where you want to go. I mean, and use some lean business cases in your portfolio. And so with that, I thank you all for your invaluable ideas. And let's quickly move to the next panel discussion. So we'll go to backstage for a minute and we'll come back straight away. Bye.
Bye.